Welcome to the Digital Edge. Get ready, because today we're exploring the really fascinating story of Rachel Davila and Cropital. It's a platform that's genuinely tried to change how Filipino farmers get funding.
It really is a compelling story, and the sources you gathered, they paint a clear picture of Cropital's mission, which is connecting these smallholder farmers directly with people who want to invest.
Right? It's not just about money, is it? It seems more about providing a real alternative to, well, some pretty predatory lending practices out there.
Exactly, and also boosting financial literacy. So our aim today is really to unpack Cropital's journey, where the idea came from and what kind of impact this whole approach has actually had.
Okay, let's start with the problem they set out to solve. The situation for many Filipino farmers sounds quite challenging based on these reports.
Oh, absolutely. The sources, including reports likely drawing from FAO data, point to a whole tangle of issues. Lack of capital is a huge one. High costs for things like seeds and fertilizer.
And then low prices when they sell their crops.
Often, yes. Plus, vulnerability to climate change, typhoons, droughts, and then this cycle of debt. Many farmers end up relying on informal lenders.
Loan sharks, essentially.
Yeah.
Charging exorbitant interest rates.
That's the reality for many. We saw figures suggesting an average income, sometimes as low as, $40 a month? It's incredibly difficult to escape that kind of pressure.
Yeah, really tough. What really jumped out from the sources was the personal story behind Cropital's founding. Rachel Davila's inspiration.
Yes, that comes up repeatedly. Her own grandmother apparently lost her pineapple farm.
Just because she couldn't get the funds needed.
That seems to be the story. It wasn't just an abstract economic problem for Rachel. It was personal. It was family. You can see how that would really fuel a desire to build something different.
Definitely. So what was the solution they came up with? Cropital itself.
Right. So Cropital, founded in 2015. Rachel Davila, Rule Amparo, Everett Ubiatas, basically they were college student or recent grads.
Young entrepreneurs tackling a huge issue.
Exactly, and they built this crowdfunding platform. The core idea, connect regular people, investors, directly with farmers needing capital. It bypasses some of the traditional barriers.
Okay, so it's a direct line of support, and the model has a few key parts. Based on what we've read.
It does. First, they provide loans, but at much lower interest rates compared to those predatory lenders. We saw a figure around 12% mentioned.
Which is a massive difference.
Huge. And importantly, it's not just loans. Several sources highlight they also offer access to crop insurance.
That's critical given the climate risks.
Definitely. And training resources too. Trying to equip farmers with, better tools and knowledge for farming and finance.
Yeah, I think I saw something about connecting them to buyers as well.
Yes, that's another piece. Helping farmers find potential contract buyers for their harvest. That tackles the issue of getting fair prices and having a reliable market.
So it's quite a holistic approach. What about the investor side? How does that work?
Well, it's designed to be pretty accessible. People can invest relatively small amounts, starting around PHP 5,000, which is roughly $100.
Yeah.
And they can often choose, a specific farm or even the type of crop they want to back. It creates a more tangible connection.
You're not just investing in an abstract fund. You're backing a specific farmer growing rice or vegetables.
Precisely. And if the harvest is successful and the loan is repaid, the investor gets a return. It's meant to be a win-win. Cropital, of course, does the vetting of the farmers and their proposed projects beforehand.
Right, adds a layer of security. Now, the early days of Cropital sound pretty remarkable. The sources talk about very rapid success.
They really do. Funding campaigns apparently filled up incredibly quickly, sometimes in minutes. It suggests there was a real appetite among the public to support farmers this way.
And those initial repayment rates reported at 100%. That's quite something.
It certainly grabbed headlines. It suggested the model was working, that farmers were committed, and the vetting was effective. By 2018, they'd already financed, I think, over 600 farmers.
Yeah, across several provinces. And the numbers kept growing, raising significant loan capital, attracting thousands of lenders.
And Rachel Davila getting recognized in Forbes Asia's 30 Under 30 in 2016. That was a big moment.
A huge validation, yeah. Plus other awards, like the Philippine Social Enterprise of the Year. It really seemed like they were onto something major.
It definitely looked that way. A lot of positive momentum.
So, thinking bigger picture then, why is a model like Cropital actually important? What's the broader significance?
Well, fundamentally, it's trying to tackle that systemic issue of debt that traps so many farmers. By providing fair finance and resources, the goal is empowerment. It's about enabling sustainable livelihoods, not just temporary fixes.
Even beyond just survival.
Exactly. And there's also this angle mentioned in the sources about making farming more attractive, potentially bringing younger people back into agriculture.
Right, tackling the aging farmer population issue by showing it can be a viable, even profitable career path with the right support and maybe more modern techniques.
Precisely. Revitalizing the sector. And partnerships, like the one mentioned with AXA Philippines, add another layer, bringing in things like financial literacy programs and potentially more funding channels.
So it contributes to food security, supports local economies.
Yeah.
It has potentially wide-ranging benefits.
That's the vision, certainly. Supporting the agricultural sector, which is, vital for the country's GDP and food supply.
So Rachel Davila's initial idea, born from personal experience, really struck a chord. Using tech to bridge that gap between investors and farmers.
Hmm.
It was innovative.
Absolutely. And the early success, the awards, they all pointed to the real potential of this kind of social enterprise to address these deep-rooted agricultural challenges.
However, it's important to touch on the more recent picture. While the early story is inspiring, we did come across some more recent discussions, like on Reddit.
Yes, that source mentioned users reporting difficulties specifically with collecting investment returns from around 2020, 2021.
And issues with communication, social media inactivity from late 2022 onwards.
Right, so that adds a layer of complexity, raises questions about the platform's sustainability and current operational status, which weren't really addressed in the earlier, more positive reports.
It certainly presents a more nuanced picture than just the initial success story.
It does. It highlights that running a social enterprise, especially in a challenging sector like agriculture finance, involves ongoing hurdles. Transparency and consistent communication become really crucial, especially when difficulties arise.
Definitely. So the Cropital story started with this incredibly powerful vision and achieved significant early impact, really showcasing how technology could connect and empower.
But it also serves as a reminder of the complexities involved in scaling such ventures and navigating challenges over the long term. The journey isn't always straightforward.
It really underscores the dynamic nature of social entrepreneurship. It's a space that requires constant adaptation. Well, that brings us to the end of our exploration today. This has been The Digital Edge.